All right, welcome to another edition of That's DC Hockey, episode 3, or kind of like 2.5, maybe like 2.5, sort of, kind of. Anyway, it's me, Sammy. I'm here with Suitsy, or as we know him, or don't know him, because I never call you by your full name. I don't think I've called you by your full name.
No?
No.
Oh.
I was talking to somebody about you the other night, and I was like, Garrett, and they were like, who's Garrett? I'm like, Suitsy. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
There is. So this is Garrett Sooter. He is my amazing teammate, co-coach. What else do we do?
That's about it.
Yeah, that's about
Play
it.
a lot of hockey.
Yeah. We're acquaintances. Like, we're like kind of, yeah.
I'd say we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have a friend. There you go. So, Garrett Sooter's here, and we're going to talk some Caps hockey. And we're going to talk a little beer league hockey, too. So, Caps coming off a big win over Vancouver. 2-1 victory over the Canucks. It was a pretty gritty and physical matchup. Especially in the first, 4 minutes. These two teams that never see each other.
It's a pretty fun win. Something you kind of expect from, the Rangers and
the
Bruins. But to get from the Canucks made it kind of fun.
Yeah, no. You also had, just right off the get-go, these two teams just did not like each other.
Yeah.
Where, you had the Dubois line just pushing around, Quinn Hughes, JT Miller. You had Kiefer Sherwood in there, which is always fun. So a really gritty and physical matchup, which, again, is kind of strange for two teams that haven't really seen each other at all. Post-game, we asked kind of, why was it so, bad-blooded? Why was there so many, tussles and this and that? And the players kind of were explaining, it's a tight game. We play hard, so when there's not a lot of space out there and you want to win a hockey game and 2 points are on the line, you're going to compete, right? So that's what we got. It was a really fun matchup. One of the things I wanted to talk about from that game was Logan Thompson's performance. Thompson was a brick wall, stopping 30 of 31 shots.
He's been looking so good all season.
Yeah, he's been looking really good all season. 30 of 31 and .968 save percentage just adds to his record this season. That's win number 17 on the year. He's only lost in regulation twice.
That's ridiculous.
Which,
that is...
Yeah.
At this level to be playing...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think. Okay, you've lost twice in regulation all season. We're officially at the halfway mark. Last night was game 41. So we're officially at this half point of the season. Logan Thompson comes up huge, especially in that second period where Vancouver outshoots Washington 21-4. So yeah, Logan Thompson very big in that performance, but per Kevin Weeks on Twitter has not been offered a contract yet. A little interesting, but I also think that it's January. It's still it's weird because we are at the halfway mark, but it still feels kind of early.
It feels early.
Yeah. And it feels like, especially when you're still alternating between the two goaltenders, which we're going to talk about later on the show, is maybe it's a little too early to lock down one name, right? But Logan Thompson absolutely loves it here. The feeling's mutual. I mean, you can see the team rally around him. You can see how well he's doing in net. The consistency's there. The stats are there. The big saves are there. He just plays such an interesting style to me, so it's been fun to see him succeed in the district. But we'll talk more about goaltending down the line. Let's talk about the real hero.
A little PLD.
A little PLD. Pierre-Luc Dubois had a huge night last night. 2 goals. One of them pretty nasty backhand off a rebound. I think it went off the crossbar. And then he backhanded in the rebound. And then you got a pretty sweet overtime winner.
Pretty nice overtime goal. Of course, with a beautiful assist from Alexei Protas.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful play.
It's phenomenal.
It looked kind of like something... It looked like a kind of defensive breakdown that our team would have. Not...
Yeah. On the Canucks side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like us.
Yeah, it's like us, it sounds like us a little bit. Yeah, so you see Protas come in, and he draws all 3 Canucks to him, and they kind of forget about the other part of the ice, right? So you have Dubois, who comes in, picks up a beautiful pass, walks in tight, dekes, and scores the overtime winner, securing 2 points for Washington. 5-game point streak the Caps are on right now.
That's pretty good, especially for as close as they've been cutting it lately.
They have been cutting it pretty close, and we'll talk about that too. But PLD has been on fire. Pierre-Luc Dubois, huge game last night. Pretty hot streak of late, right? So he's got points in 10 of his last 11, 33 points on the season, on pace to finish with 66.
It's pretty good, buddy.
It's pretty good, buddy. Pretty good, especially considering last season he had 40 with the Kings. Mm-hmm. You had critics, everybody talking about, you know, what's finally going to work for him. Because he's been on the move quite a bit. Lands in Washington in exchange for Darcy Kemper. And there might have been a little reluctance there. Especially, like, talking to you, because you're a Caps fan for as long as you've been watching hockey.
Absolutely.
And what did you think of the PLD trade when it first happened?
It was expensive.
Yeah.
Was my first thought. I'm like, this is a 40-point guy. Like, is he going to contribute what he needs to? And,
yeah.
Of course, there's always the rumors about how he is in the room.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. And I think that it's been following Dubois for a long time. But as I think about it, and as, like, I've come to know, because I've been doing this for a long time now, which is crazy. 8 years.
That's a long time, buddy.
Which is a long time. Like, I was 19 when I started this rodeo. So that's wild. Kind of an adult, not really an adult. You're kind of getting there.
Yeah, most of the way there.
Yeah, most of the way there. Like I said, like, right, I can vote. I can work.
Still can't drink, though.
Can't drink. That's true. I mean, not that I really do that now, but yeah, but I mean, you can do a lot at 19. But as you've learned, it's like you get a glimpse at the team, right? But you don't really get the full picture. And it's so easy to believe outside noise when you don't have a real glance at what's going on inside. I think with PLD, there were, you know, just him going around because he was there in Columbus with John Tortorella. Maybe that relationship didn't really work out. Winnipeg had its own fair share of issues that go far beyond, you know, anything really that we know about. And I think much more beyond one player too, right? And LA, there weren't any issues. It just wasn't a fit, right? And so I think you just have somebody fall into patterns of, like, unfortunate events, and then it just correlates with you, you know? And then you're in this weird position. And that's really what I find interesting about Dubois is, like, since he's been here, like, the first thing that any of his teammates will tell you is how good of a person he is. That's the first thing they'll say. It's like, well, he's a great guy. And I'm like, okay, like, that doesn't scream problem in the room to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially, like, when you ask these players something and they give it to you unprompted, like, that speaks louder than, like, oh, like, you know, he's a good teammate, you know. It's like, no, like, he's a good person. Like, that's deep. That stuff goes hard. And I think that, yeah, you're right. Like, it's an expensive deal. It's a long deal. It is not cheap. And yeah, like, Darcy Kemper carried quite a bit of cap, but only for the next few years, right? Not long term. So you're locking into this player for a long time. But as we've come to learn with Brian McClellan, is the Caps, you know, you let him cook and you'll usually like the product, right? He's worked out wonderfully. And I think a lot of it has to do with the opportunity that he's getting here. You see him in a top 6 role, something he really didn't get a lot of in LA. He was kind of like a third line guy. He wasn't really getting the minutes or the role that he really wanted. I think he was sometimes put on the wing too, which just kind of complicates things when you're a natural center. I mean, you know that. Like, we'll talk more about you, but you play center, and when you move to the wing,
definitely uncomfortable on the wing.
Yeah.
Whole different animal.
Yeah. You won't even, like, yeah. You don't even like to do it.
Not fun at all.
Yeah. No. So, and Viz's like the most flexible guy, lineup wise, whatever. But I know, don't put you on the wing. Like, it just, you know, so that kind of stuff, like, really does impact you as a player. I think here he's getting the role that he wants, but it's also not just, okay, we want points. It's no, we want defensive responsibility. We want effort. we want you out there when, they have the extra attacker on the ice and we have to defend against the empty net, right? Like, this is the player that we want. An all-around, complete, real identity top 6 center. And he's lived up to it. And it's working out really well. Like we said, the points are finally starting to come to him. Maybe at the start of the season, it wasn't necessarily there on the score sheet, but it's there in the advanced analytics. I think sometimes fans can get impatient when they look at the big picture and see, like, okay, like, goals, assists, like, where are they? But now they're starting to show, because he ranks right now 2nd on the team in assists, 3rd in overall scoring. PLD's in a very, very good spot. But the biggest thing that we talked about when I sat down with him yesterday, at the time of recording now, is how he's finally feeling appreciated. He finally feels like nobody's asking him to be anybody else other than Pierre-Luc Dubois. This is kind of what he had to say about why he's finding success here.
I never felt like the guys in here asked for more. I felt like the guys in here appreciate what I did and what I do, and whether it's defensively, whether it's 6 on pucks, I mean anything. And when you're in an environment like that, and it's not just me. I mean, I think guys throughout the 12th fourth to the first fourth to the 60th to the first to the 2 goalies, I think everybody feels appreciated in here, and that's what creates this environment that it's fun for everybody, and everybody can just be themselves.
Anyway, he's earning every minute. Teammates love him. I think the fan base loves him. Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, so far he's paying off. Yeah. So far it's a good deal. I think it's a win-win. I think he went where he needed to go, and I think that Darcy Kemper went where he needed to go. PLD. Let's move on from PLD to talk about another, like, semi-important piece of the Caps roster.
Kind of famous,
kind of important. Alex Ovechkin. I think, yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Just the greatest goal scorer of all time. No big deal. 4 goals in 6 games, buddy.
That's pretty good.
Since
especially
returning.
Compared to where he was last season.
Yeah, since returning from the broken leg. 4 goals, 6 games. Looking like himself. At the same time, there's some struggles on that top line right now. We'll get more into that because it's an overarching issue. But looking at Ovechkin, looking at his game, and where he's at, and how he's been able to maintain the consistency that he has, and he's like 39 now, which is crazy,
just insane. And
he's still doing his thing. But he can realistically break the record this season.
Oh
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not even talking break the record this season. We're talking beat Gretz to the record.
Yeah, beat Gretz to the record, which he didn't. A reporter asked him post-game after the Rangers game, which I don't even know what that game was. That was the craziest game that I've been to in a long time, and I've been to some wild games, and that was a crazy one. And. I think the one that tops that is like the 7-6 win over Carolina where Sonny Milano had the hat trick.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. So that was like right up there. That was right up there. But after that game, a reporter, kind of mentioned like, hey, you can beat Gretzky, faster than he got there. And Ovi just, was like, okay, like, thanks. And like got up and like walked away. Like didn't want to even touch that conversation. Which I think says a lot about him because he's a team guy. He's chasing this unreal record that, like, growing up, I mean, it was like, they even, like, put them in the same conversation. Because, like, yeah, Ovi's a great goal scorer, but, like, Gretzky, like, that number's ridiculously high. Like, you ever gonna get there? Like, no, like, that's, like, video game numbers, you know what I mean? And then they start to add up, and then you get to 600, then you get to 700, then you hit 800, then you beat Howe. And that's like, okay, you got a real chance at this thing. Right now, he is 23 away, which is...
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. And he could break it, like, as soon as March. January 9th right now at the time of recording. As soon as March. I mean...
insane.
And I can't even imagine what the building, if he breaks it at Capital One.
Just explode.
It would explode. It gets loud every time he gets closer the volume just gets louder and louder. I cannot imagine what it will be like when he breaks it. It would be fun to see him break it at home. He did pass Howe at home. He hit 800 on the road against Chicago. That would have been a really fun game to cover, but the Howe game was a fun one.
That's a fun one.
But realistically, we could see that this season. But what impresses me about him is just the durability, the consistency, and the modesty.
What was it, 40 days to come back from a broken leg?
Yeah, 40 days.
Dude.
And then you're back. Like,
ridiculous.
And I can't imagine just hopping right back in and picking up where I left off of like, okay, I was leading the league in goals at the time of my injury, and now I'm back and I have some ground to gain and whatever. I'm just going to come back and keep doing what I'm doing, and my shot's not going to take a step back, and I'm not going to miss a beat. Like, I'm going to be fine. It's just crazy to think about. What we're watching with him is just so special, and to be in this generation is truly something, because I don't think there will be another like him. Like, you have Austin Matthews, who's a great goal scorer in his own right, but nobody can shoot the puck like Alex Ovechkin.
It's just different. Yeah. The amount of speed he can get so fast after receiving the puck.
Yeah.
Is just where he's so dangerous.
And the power. It's 6'3", 238 pounds.
Yeah.
100 flex on the stick. I mean,
dude,
but
that's a big dude.
It's a big man, and he can rip the puck, and he can score in so many different ways too. I think something else that we should talk about on this pod too is how good of a passer he is as well. He can dish it as well as he can shoot it.
Well, that's one of the things I noticed early in the season was the number of assists he was getting.
Yeah,
because he's setting up these younger guys. He's setting up for a new system under Carberry. I don't know. He's adapting.
Yeah.
Even at 39 years old, he's changed his game a little bit. Of course, he's still getting fed. He's still getting shots. But he's feeding other guys too. He
is. And it also makes me laugh a little bit when I see people slide into like my mentions. Because on social media, you get people who slide into the mentions, I guess. Not the DM so much anymore, which is good.
Good.
But the mentions, and they'll be like, oh, he's, racking up the empty net goals. And I'm like, that's the biggest bunch of BS. Like,
what, he's got like 40 of them or something?
Yeah,
way less than 100.
Yeah, and also you're out of 872 career goals. Come on. Like, no. And also, how hard is it to score on an empty net? It's not easy.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, like
not in the NHL.
No, you're out there at 6-on-5. Your primary job is to defend. It's not to cherry pick at the line. If the kids we coached ever cherry picked at the line while we're defending against an empty net, that would be benched.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that would not happen. But yeah, no, I mean it's a lot harder, and he makes it look so easy. And I think that's also like a testament to Alex Ovechkin, is just how easy he makes it look. So just unreal what we're watching right now.
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun.
So much fun.
So we'll stay tuned in that race and move on to talking about recent struggles for the Caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So recently, they're picking up points. It's not all great recently, right? It hasn't been pretty. We've had quite a few tight games.
A lot of comeback games.
Kind
of fun to watch, but not good for the ticker.
No, it's not. I don't know how my heart's doing, as a reporter. I'm sure it'd be fun to, go, be, hooked up to one of those machines, during a game. During the game, see it, and as, deadline approaches and you're writing, see it, go faster. My heart, while I'm, on deadline and, the buzzer, hits and you're, still filing, my heart, nearly, stops. It's, oh, God. But yeah, no, it hasn't all been pretty. You've had a lot of really tight games where they've had to rally, and sometimes that rally is too little too late. We saw that against Detroit not too long ago. You see them in some games start really well, and then things fall apart, where things get a little lazy and sloppy at times. And mistakes happen. Mistakes are going to happen. But at this point in the season, it's not necessarily a promising sign that you want to see.
No, especially when you're going to want to make a playoff run.
Yeah, and there are ebbs and flows. Not the greatest time for an ebb, right? And I think that you look at the issues, and the biggest issue is the inconsistency through 60, but you also have the offense at 5-on-5 not replicating what it was at the start of the season. You had the team averaging well over four goals per game, which is ridiculous. Like, come on. Like, that's not realistic.
Unsustainable.
Yeah, and unsustainable. That it's not. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's like Ovechkin, Gretzky, and Howe on the other wing. Like, you are not going to sustain 4+ goals a game over the course of an 82-game season. Especially when your greatest goal scorer of all time breaks his fibula and is out for 40 days. It is not going to happen. So that number's dropped. I think right now it's at like 2.9 goals per game, roughly. A lot of really tight performances of late, and the lines just haven't been gelling like they were. You had Ovechkin with Strome and Protas at the start of the season, absolutely thriving. They go back to that last night. It's a really tough game to evaluate because there's not a lot of space in a game like that, and you can't expect there to be a lot. Like, it's Vancouver. Like, you can't expect there to be a lot of space. But they're still fighting it a little bit. Ovechkin and Strome just haven't been the same. That second line, with Dubois and Wilson, and McMichael was on, the other side last night, but then you also have Protas slotting in there, and that was a really good line for a long time. The third line is a whole question mark, and the fourth line is the fourth line. Fourth line is always Dowd, Duhaime, and you either got Radish or Mangiapane. I really like Mangiapane there. I think he's a gritty guy. He's a smaller guy, but he plays much bigger than his frame. And he gets to pucks. He fights for pucks. He gets to the front. Really good identity player to have on that trio.
Yeah, it's a fun line to watch.
It is a fun line to watch. Especially, I've always loved, Nick Dowd's game, especially with, how hard he goes on the forecheck. But just defensively, he's such a lockdown guy. But he's also able to just, deke around you and score if he has to. So that's a fun line to watch, but not all pretty at 5-on-5. So what needs to change there? I think you might need to see a change up. I think at some point, Carberry put it in a really funny way to me yesterday, where I had to listen to the audio a couple times to get what he was saying, because it was early and I hadn't had any caffeine yet. And he made the point of you don't want to break up the Dubois line, because that's a red hot line right now. But at some point you have to rob Peter to pay Paul. And I think that was a really good analogy of okay, maybe it's time to give Dubois a shot with Ovechkin. Maybe it's time, because him and Strome, Ovi and Strome, there's no denying the chemistry between them since Strome's come to DC. But to just change it up, right? To just give it a different look. Just see if something can be sparked there. Put Ovi with Dubois and Wilson, see what happens. McMichael needs a little bit of a change. Put McMichael, with Strome and Protas, see if that clicks, right? And they're risky moves to make, especially when something's working so well and you don't want to upset the apple cart, so to say. These are such old-timey expressions.
It is old-timey.
Rob Peter to pay Paul, upset the apple cart. Yeah. A little bit, yeah. Yeah, we're getting biblical here. No, it's like the prophecy, No, but I think at some point you got to try it, and as somebody, because we coach, right? And how often do we have to change lines? All the time. Because it doesn't always last.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now's kind of the time to do it, though. It's a long season. Yeah. Still got halfway to go.
Yeah.
You want to settle things up before you have to make any decisions.
And also, I think, to that point, too, this is a good time to do it, not just because of the time, but because, it's not like anything... It's not like you're throwing anything away by doing it now. You're still getting points. But Carberry, as he said, is getting a little bit impatient with impatient was his word, right? With the play of late. And if you're starting to get a little like antsy of, okay, we want to get back to identity we were at the start of the season with, take a risk. Like, shake it up a little bit. See if Ovi and Dubois works out. If it doesn't, you can always revert back. Something's got to give at some point, though. And I think you start there. And then it also comes down to starting well and ending well. Like, that hot start, you've got to be able to sustain that for 60 minutes. It's hard to do. Like, those games, like, we look at it on paper and we're like, okay, like, 3 20-minute periods, like, whatever. Like, no. It's a long time. Like, that's like 2 hours and 30 minutes that you got to be on your game dialed in.
And you got to lose all your momentum.
Yeah.
Twice in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know how they stay focused for that long.
I don't know how you do it either. Like, those intermissions can be long. And in the meantime, you got a team on the other side looking to get the best of you in any way that they can and having a real desire to because you're at the top of the East. Yeah. Right? Like, you have a target on your back. And Strome also made a good point talking to him the other day of, like, people may have been a little surprised by the Caps at the start of the year with all the new personnel, but now people know what to expect. And now it's, okay, we need to adapt now. And we need to start pulling different tricks out of our sleeve, right? Like, we can't just do the same game plan every time. So it'll be interesting to see what they do at 5-on-5. Let's talk about the goaltending, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
Goaltending's a little bit interesting, right? Because you have two very good right catches, because right catches are the best.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say right catches are the best. No, you got Charlie Lindgren, you got Logan Thompson. You got two very good goaltenders who have both proven quite a bit at the NHL level, despite still being, like, young in their careers. Lindgren just turned 31, and then Thompson's 27. But you have two goalies that you're alternating between each game. Thompson has that upper hand when it comes to the numbers and when it comes to the consistency. I think Lindgren at times has struggled, but he's also, the stats aren't necessarily reflective of his play, I feel like.
I agree. You get a couple unlucky shots, a couple good breakaways. Your D breaks down on you just one or two times, and your goalie stats dip below your partner. Yeah. I mean, of course, I hate to bring up Chuck's own goal, but
like,
there's some big mistakes there, but I don't think he's been playing bad. I don't think he's been playing as much worse as Thompson as the stats.
I think so too, and I think you can point to advanced stats all you want and be like, but look at the goals saved above expected. Like, no, like I'm a true believer in the eye test. I really think that you are going to get the most out of watching a goalie for yourself. And he has come up with some huge saves. And then some of the goals that you see happen against him are ones that you're not going to have much chance on. Like, whether it's a bad bounce or a deflection and you're tracking that initial shot and then it goes, like, off your defenseman or it goes off something else in front. Or you have, like, 4 guys screening you, right? And that was the case the other night for him. And the puck goes past you, you don't even know it because there's so much traffic. Like, and I mean, there's breakdowns in front of Thompson too. Like, it happens. They both play very different games from each other. I think Charlie is more of a reactive, reflexive goaltender. I think Thompson's a guy who gets down quite a bit. Every save I see him make, he's going down, which is awesome because he's like 6'4" and he covers so much net. But he's very, like, mechanical, but he'll come up with, like, the acrobatic save if you need him to. He had a couple where he was, like, all over the place last night and he still managed to keep the puck out. So I think when it comes to alternating between both goaltenders, I think when you're at the point of the playoffs, you need to talk about a number one. We're still in January, though, and I think that there's a benefit to playing both guys every other night a little bit, right? Because I think that if you alternate between the two, it keeps them fresh and keeps them healthy and also keeps the confidence up for both of them. It doesn't necessarily allow for, like, bad habits to continue, and it doesn't break good habits when they happen. Because you end on a high note, you're going to come into the next game on a high note. It doesn't matter if you're starting, like, back-to-back or anything like that. Like, you're going to start on a really good note. And I think it's a really healthy dynamic to have that competition too. I think having competition in the crease really helps you bring your A game, which is also why I like them alternating, because it just adds fuel to the fire. But as we get closer, I think, it'll be Thompson. But anything can change in the playoffs. I mean, you saw Philip Grubauer start in 2018, and Braden Holtby was the one to carry you to the cup that year. So a lot there. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, should be fun to watch.
It'll be fun to watch down the stretch. All right, now we're going to talk some beer league, because that's why you're here.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
I mean, you're not just here for that. Like, no, you did great. This is also like his first time on a podcast, so props to you, man.
Yeah, it's about time. I'm getting a little old to be on a podcast now.
A little old, yeah. Old man.
Yeah.
No. God, no. No. Sutsy is one of our best players.
I definitely contribute.
He contributes.
But there's a lot of stuff I could improve on.
I think currently in Ghost Pirate scoring, you rank second.
That sounds right.
Gertz is first.
Behind Gertz,
yeah. And then Ryan is like chomping at your heels. Although Ryan's goal the other night went in off the defenseman, and I don't think that he deserves credit for it. Sorry.
You always deserve credit for a goal off a defenseman. You put it in the right spot.
He fumbled it. I don't know. For context, I played the Ghost Pirates last week, and it did not...
And lost.
It did not go according to plan. It was 3-0 after like the first 2 minutes.
That was bad. It was one shift. Got 3 goals.
On defensive breakdowns. Yeah. All defensive breakdowns. A turnover by the defenseman in front. First goal beats me blocker side. Second goal goes in off the defenseman. And then the third was another turnover. I try to play it out to my defenseman and then right onto the stick of a Ghost Pirate and in the back of my net. So
every forward on that line scored in a minute and a half.
Yep, it was. Yeah. That was the same line, wasn't it?
Yep. It's a hard way to start a hockey game. For sure.
I was not a happy camper. I was not happy, but it's a good lesson to never betray your team. So I learned the hard way. But let's talk beer league. So you started playing as an adult. So how did you decide, okay, I'm gonna start playing hockey?
Honestly, my friend had some free tickets to the Caps. Went and sat, pretty nice seats. They were through her work, so it was pretty good. And I was sitting there, I was like, damn, they look like they're having a lot of fun with their friends out there. I would like to do that. And so I Googled it right there. H&A, Hockey North America Beginner School pulled up on my phone, and it just turned out her dad was in the same league. So I was able to ask him about it. He was like, hell yeah, do it.
Yeah.
And so I hopped on a beginner league. I emailed the commissioner 2 days later and almost ended up on what turned out to be our rival team.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I can imagine. Oh, God.
But they ended up being full, and so I lucked onto Sam's team.
There we go, yeah. Almost a roadrunner.
Exactly, almost a roadrunner.
But made it to the Ghost Pirates.
Saved by the bell.
God. Yeah, that's crazy to me. And the roadrunners don't... I mean, they exist, but not within our division anymore. But...
Yeah, they kind of fell apart. There was kind of a coup in the captaincy. Yeah. A lot of drama in some of these beer league teams. Watch out.
A lot crazy. But it's interesting because... You're the kind of player that I feel like if you weren't on my team, I would hate you.
Oh yeah.
So describe your game. Scout yourself. Scout yourself.
I think I am the definition of a two-way player.
I like that. Okay.
I don't think that I excel up front. We talked a little bit about how I just hate being at wing. I'm happy to do it, especially in a pickup situation or a sub situation. That's awesome. Happy to do it. But I think through and through, I just like to compete.
Yeah.
And I think I outwork most people on the rink.
You do.
I think that's my main strength. I think through sports as a kid, I just kind of outworked everybody else, and I didn't know how to skate backwards, didn't know how to do anything. I couldn't even stop our first beginner school, but I think I put in some work and become a good skater. So I'm kind of a pest.
You are.
Which is a little bit freeing because every day I'm terrified of bothering people. But on the ice?
No.
Fuck it. I love it.
Yeah, no. This guy is...
Can I swear?
Yeah,
okay.
You can swear.
Yeah.
No. This guy is a pest. Like,
Just so fucking annoying.
Through and through. He is the most annoying... Well, I was playing goal against you the other night. I was hugging the post, and I covered, and you're still, like, and I'm like, God, I wanted to punch you. I was like... I looked at you. I was like, is he kidding? And then I'm like, you know what? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's the player he is. I'm like, you gotta respect it.
Gotta play through the whistle.
Yeah. And to be fair, the whistle didn't blow. Like, I'm not gonna, whine. The whistle didn't blow. What bothered me was my defenseman was like, yeah, you really need to cover it harder next time. And I'm like, okay, sir.
You had it so good under your pad, and they just weren't blowing it.
I'm like... Sir, I'm like, we are down 3-0. Let's
Let's chill.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
I did my best, but no, I would scout you exactly that because you will push, you will go for as long as you can after that puck at the whistle doesn't blow. Defensively, if a guy is on a breakaway, you will catch up to them and you will do anything that you can to make sure that they don't get a clean shot on goal.
Yeah, bit me in the ass the other night. The other night I threw my stick at the puck.
Yeah.
And bounced right in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have just let him take the shot.
Yeah.
Sure, our goalie would have gotten it. He's real good on a breakaway.
That's also like an automatic penalty shot. I was watching and I was like, what is he doing? And I was like,
dumb move on my part.
But then I was like, how many goals do I have in my career? How many does Sootsy have? I'm like, okay. Like, I'll defer to him. Like, how many?
No,
yeah.
Don't defer to me. It was a dumb play. But I started as a defenseman, so I definitely have a lot of my ego tied up in my ability to stop the breakaway.
Yeah, no. I mean, you did start as a defenseman. I remember you were like the only person. You're like every beer league captain's dream of like, I will play defense. Especially like when you have a beginner team, because you were still learning like how to skate backward and like stop, and like your skating has come such a long way. But when you have like a beginner team where nobody really knows how to skate, like nobody wants to play defense, and you were the one guy who was like, yeah, like I am an identity defenseman.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense. I mean, it's the position where you're just supposed to kind of be a pest.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense. You sit back. You don't get involved as much, and you definitely don't score as much, especially in beer league. But
yeah.
But every single play, you get to feel like you're contributing, which is really cool.
But then you started scoring.
Yep.
And you started improving, and you got faster, and you got stronger, and you got to a point where we were like, we need help. Let's ride this guy on the first line center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been center ever since, and
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's really exciting. It's a cool sport. It's so hard to even skate and then to skate and do something else. But
yeah,
I feel like I've improved a lot. But it's also so cool to know how much more I can come. Like if I could, even not even looking at good players, but like looking at other beer league players.
Yeah.
Being able to pick up some of the shot stuff that like our buddy Ryan can do.
Yeah.
Or some of the stuff that like Gertz can do. His backhand is ridiculous.
His backhand, yeah.
It's really cool to be able to see all these players do different things well. And
yeah.
know you can improve at something as an adult.
Like Ryan's ability to shoot the puck wide.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
I am way better at shooting the puck wide than he is.
No, he is on point. No, like the accuracy in his shot is crazy. The accuracy in your shot your shot is so powerful. Which reminds me, what sticks are you using nowadays?
I use the OV Pro Stocks, buddy.
He uses OV
Thanks
Pro
to
Stocks.
You.
Which is crazy. Like you're using 100 flex sticks and putting up like insane numbers at like D4 and D3.
It's pretty fun. I don't know. Some of the other sticks feel a little bit soft to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like more power.
I like a firm stick.
Yeah.
I also like to be able to swat it away on defense.
That's true. It does have a pretty good reach. I mean, that one game I played defense, I think I pulled it out because I was like, I need something that has like a long reach because this isn't going to fare well.
Well, it's also not that easy to find. Like, I'm like 6'2", 6'3". It's not that easy to find sticks that are quite tall enough.
Yeah.
So these OV Pro Stocks really help out there.
Yeah.
Too.
No, they're good sticks. Good old specs on those. Mm-hmm. So you also play on this lovely team, the Hello Kitties. HK mids, as they're called.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest difference you've noticed in playing D3 versus D4? Because there is a difference.
Yeah. There's not as many outliers, I think.
Interesting, okay.
So you're not going to have in D3, I think your like median player, or maybe even your mean player, is the same level in D3 and D4. But you don't have as many people that are just like a little bit slower or a little bit more timid around the puck.
Right, yeah.
You get a lot of these folks that have been playing for a really, really long time. Maybe even folks that have been like, that used to be way better and are just getting like a little bit older.
Sure.
I say that as like someone who's like 26 years old. So like, old for me is like 34. But
yeah.
But I think you see a lot more smart playing and just a little bit less timidness to have the puck.
Yeah.
Which leads to smarter passing, which leads to like more scoring if you can just be in the right spot, I think.
Well, let me tell you something. So when I was playing on mids, my stats went up like twofold.
I think if you're not a huge goal scorer, like in D4, to score, a lot of the times you have to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
In D3, I think your assist numbers mean way more about the quality of your play.
I think so too.
Whereas D4 is more like, just goals or points. Yeah. You can even just do points.
Yeah.
But D3, you just get in front of the net and you can trust that somebody's going to be there a little bit more.
I think so too, yeah. Because I got to the front of the crease. Like, that was my job. Because being like a tiny, scrappy little nothing that like I could get away with going under the radar a little bit. And I could get to the front. And something that I do really well, even though like I think I'm a better goalie than I am a skater. I'll say that. But
well, the amount of improvement that you've had in goal in like 3 months
or
something like that
3 months
is just insane.
It's crazy. I think it's because like when you find a position and you're like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like I was talking to one of our teammates about this. Is like, I think you hit a ceiling at some point of like, you reach the ceiling of, okay, if I'm going to continue to excel at A, I'm going to need a lot more work. And goaltending, there's just, you always get better, and the way you get better is through playing games and facing those real-time scenarios and that kind of stuff. Whereas if you're skating, like something that you did, because you went and did so much more than just our beginner school to get where you are. Like those Wednesday night classes at Gavin John.
Yeah, I definitely did like a lot of work. I did a lot of stick and pucks. I did, like she was talking about, there was these weekly hockey classes I'm doing, and like just to reiterate for the folks online, I'm not a good hockey player. I'm just better than I used to be.
He is a good hockey player.
But
we'll put his stats
up. For like D3, D4.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's just like putting in a little bit of time helps.
Yeah.
And what's really, really cool actually about Beer League, and one of my favorite things about Beer League is how small it is. Where just about every team we play, I know some of the folks on it. I can go to any stick and puck like in the DMV region and like know a couple people there just from like classes I've done or other stick and pucks or pickups or playing on everything else. And I think that's kind of the coolest thing about Beer League, and what makes it a little bit easier to maybe get better at goal. You can always find someone to text, be like, y'all playing tonight? Like
always. Oh yeah. That's the thing, is like, you don't always need an extra skater. Somebody always needs a goalie.
Oh, someone always needs a goalie.
You always need a goalie. Like,
no one wants to buy pads.
Yeah. No, nobody does. And those things are huge. And they also, like, the biggest pain in the butt about being a goalie is the bag. The bag is like, it looks like a 2-bed, 2-bath. Like, like you could live, like I could live in there.
No, it is crazy.
Yeah. My bag is ridiculously huge. We'll feature on the show.
Sammy's is also dumb big, like way too big for her.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Like, but I mean, getting back to what you said, because you mentioned you're like, at your age, so you're 26. 26.
For now.
Temporarily 26.
Yeah, for about a year.
Okay. All right. Approximately a year.
Yeah.
Being 26 and going into a league, because like when did we start? Like 2 years ago, almost.
Yeah, like end of late February of 22.
Yeah, so you were an adult.
23.
Yeah, so you were, I mean, we've talked about adults a lot on the show, but I
could vote and drink when I started playing beer league.
Exactly, which is huge. I think that's a requirement for beer league.
Yeah, I think so. Well, at least drinking.
Yeah, you should be able to enjoy some post-game brewskis in the room. But, like, was there, like, an intimidation of, okay, like, I'm 24, I've never skated before, like, and I'm going to go play hockey with, like, other adults? Like, is it scary, like, jumping in as an adult?
I was terrified. I walked in, we did, like, this little team meeting first, like before the season upstairs in like the hockey rink where we do most of our stuff in Rockville, Maryland. It's like 50 minutes from my house. I'm like, do I really want to commit to this?
Yeah.
I just dropped like a stack of cash on new gear. I'm like, maybe this was a huge mistake. And then I walk in and I see this guy on our team, Mark Stevenson, and he looks like a hockey player.
Mark does look like a hockey
This guy's got like a nice little goatee going, long gray hair. Yeah. Like, I didn't see his truck, thank God, but it's like his truck at the time had like a 9-inch nail sticker on the back. I walk in like, this guy's a hockey player. He knew. Yeah. And then people, and like, I think at some point they were asked like, who's played hockey before?
Yeah.
And like half the room's hands just shoot up. It's like, God fucking damn it. What did I get myself into?
Yeah.
I can't even stop. But then the next time we met up, we're skating on the rink, and me and Cash are bonding over how we can't stop.
Yeah.
And like everybody's so welcoming, and then like I'm like, great, this is a good crew, like beginner league, awesome. And same fear comes up the first time I go to like a pickup game.
Yeah.
Super shitty, can't stop, like almost worried I'm gonna hurt someone if I can't stop, and run over them or something like that. And again, all these guys who are just ripping it, going, top shelf, like backwards crossovers, like, and they're like great playmen.
Yeah.
Or I do something right, and they're like, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, this is a cool community.
Go, yeah.
It's like intimidating as hell, but
you
get into it. What about you? Coming from like, you've been in hockey for a long time. You played a little bit before beginner school. Like, what about you when you first started?
I remember seeing you, and I thought you were a hockey bro.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a little bit of a hockey bro, which is why when you were like, no, I've never played before, I'm like, what? Because you just, like, you are hockey. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. Like, I came in, and I remember seeing you, and I think I saw, like, Mikey at that first meeting, and I saw Mark, and I was like, oh, my God, Mark. And, like, Mark was, like, the first. Shout out to Mark. He was the first one I met. Mm-hmm. He's just the best teammate.
Great guy.
He's such a great guy. He's such a good teammate. Like, he brings you back down to earth. Mm-hmm. You do that really well with me, is you bring me back down to reality.
I remember our first season, there was one game you got real intense. It had to be like, Sammy.
It was a Roadrunners game.
Yeah, let's not do that anymore.
And I was like, the talk you had was like one that you would have with like your father. Like you like I remember I was in the penalty box because I got booted, mm-hmm. and you just talked to me like you were like, you gotta take the high road. I'm like just in the calmest whatever, and then Mark comes over and he was like, huh, and I'm like, all right. Like, but no, I mean we got so lucky with our group. Yeah. Like we got such a good group. Like. Beer league, like, it can be what you make it. Like, you can come in every week and just come for an hour and leave, and that's pretty much it. But, like, us, like, we know, like, okay, like, we're going to be there, like, minimum, like, 4 hours. Because, like, we're hanging out, like, before the game. We play together, win or lose. It doesn't make a difference. Like, we still have a good time in the room after. And I think also, like, just being a team that's come so far and like the things we've done and like how we won over summer, but like we're still able to like play with that underdog bite to us a little bit. Cause we still have players that are coming, into their own, like me, like I'm still working, what I mean, on like hitting my stride as a skater and in goal. Like again, like my stats don't scream Vesna, but like, what I mean? It was intimidating, especially like as a woman, you come in and you don't see like other girls and you're like, am I going to get like hurt, like, because I'm like, not because like, oh, like you're a woman and you're playing with men. No, I'm 5'4" and you're 6'3", and that's pretty much the same size as several of our teammates. Like, I didn't realize how tall, like, Ryan, shout out to Ryan. You guys know Ryan. He's been on here before. We did probably not pro hockey last year, but Ryan's pretty tall.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until I didn't dress the last game of the holiday tournament because I hurt my knee. And I came anyway because I wanted to, like, see the boys, like, finish up the tournament. And he was, like, on skates and, like, geared up, and I wasn't. And he's like, huge. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, what? Like, dude. And, like, it's just crazy. So it's been a fun experience. It's also allowed us to coach together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how you like coaching?
Dude, it's been a trip.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been coaching since I was like 14 years old, I think was the first time I got paid to coach anything.
Oh my God.
So I've been coaching for about 12 years now. This is the first time I've ever coached hockey.
Yeah.
I always coached swimming. Like, swimming was the thing I did growing up. Swimming was the thing I coached.
Yeah. Very
individual sport. And here I come getting thrown in to this sport that, I was only started really watching hockey as in my adult life. Like when I came to DC, I was real hype over the Stanley Cup and all that.
Yeah.
And only been playing for a little while, and now I'm being trusted to coach these kids. Like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. I think a lot of like my experience has crossed over
to
coaching, but I'm also learning like a crazy amount.
Oh yeah.
And I think like having your experience, all you know about hockey is awesome.
You're too kind to me.
And then like
I'm terrible.
We're able to combine like really nice mesh skill sets.
I think we're a pretty well balanced coaching pair. Like, you know how to turn it on and be serious. I struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But we both bounce off of each other really well, and it's been really fun to see how you've like developed your game and have learned to play in your own sense, and how you've carried that over into coaching. Of like, okay, I play the sport, but I also read it really well. Has been awesome to see. But I'll leave you with this because I want to know.
Okay.
Well, I guess like 3 questions for you.
3, okay.
But 2 of them are related, so kind of like 2 questions.
1, 2A, and 2B.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right, so, well, let's start like 1A, 1B.
Okay.
Okay, so 1A, 1B, your 2 numbers that you wear, why do you wear them?
Okay, 27 is the best number. It feels like it should be prime, but it's not. It's like a multiple of 3 and 9.
It just gives off prime vibes?
It gives off prime vibes, yeah. So, but it's not, prime. It like, it's like 3 cubed and 3 times 9. I don't know. It's just fun. It's very symmetrical to me. Like, in my mind, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
My other number, 46, was a typo when I filled out the form.
What?
So
no, really?
Yeah, so it's a pretty fun number. Like, I'm okay with it. I would have never chosen an even number, though.
What'd you mean to put?
What did I mean to put? I think maybe 53. I don't even remember what I meant to put.
You fat fingered the shit out of that.
I know. Well, I think it was like late at night. They were asking for 3 options. I had forgotten to respond to the email for like 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
And so it just happened.
Honestly, it suits you though.
Yeah.
Like, it looks pretty like badass.
It's not a terrible number. It adds up to 10. I mean, it's fine.
Not a lot of people wear 46. Like, that's kind of like you're in NHL training camp and they like just give you a number. That's like the kind of number 46 is.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
It's kind of fun. It's a little bit sloppy to me, which can be exciting.
I kind of like that. Like, Logan Thompson chose like 48 because like nobody chooses 48. And nobody really like chose him. And that's kind of, so like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a story there. I like that. I like 46.
Yeah.
But 27, I don't know. I can't imagine you wearing something else.
No, I feel so uncomfortable in 46.
Yeah.
I wanted 27, but our captain, this is for HK.
Yeah.
But our captain was already 27, so
yeah.
Once I can get him thrown off the team, maybe
we'll do a Roadrunners coup.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Nobody ever wears 79, and nobody ever wears my other backup number, which
What's
is
your backup number?
68. Jose Theodore plus Alex Ovechkin equals
68.
Equals 68. It's a nice little balance, you know.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is 79 just from Lindgren?
It's actually it's a Nathan Walker.
Okay.
And it's also the birth year backwards. Because I was gonna be 97.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
That's too close to the great one.
You can't wear 97 in beer league.
No, that's ridiculous.
And because Charlie Lindgren was like, "Oh, you wear 79?" I'm like, "I do," and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, but you also can't wear 97 in beer league. And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, it's pretty close."
Yeah.
And also, like, what? I'm gonna wear McDavid's number in D4 beer league?
No,
like,
that's ridiculous.
And
that's like ripping Ovi's number.
Yeah.
In beer league, like only losers. It's different. like maybe if you're playing in Chicago or maybe if you're playing in Boston, like it's different. But if you're in the DMV wearing 8, come on, dude.
No,
pick another number.
It's a little It's I don't know, like, and Lindgren was like, wait, like McDavid gets that kind of respect in beer league, and I'm like. Well, yeah, I'm like, but also, like, you gotta, like, it's like the guys who, like, show up wearing 99. I'm like, where are you,
Come on,
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here with that. So, that's the number question.
Okay.
And then the second and last question I'll leave you with. What has been the biggest challenge for you in your playing career so far? And we'll call it a career, because you're gonna be in the leagues for a long time.
Yeah. Dude, just forgetting, I think. I think hockey is such a tough game where we were talking about goalies earlier. We were talking about goalie stats earlier where you get a lot of these just disgusting little bounces through something.
Yeah.
Or you miss a lot of, like, the dumb passes or you miss a shot. And you just got to forget about that little failure. Like, just being able to be comfortable with failing a lot of times. Mm-hmm. Like, you take a shift or two shift or all your shifts in a period and aren't even able to get a shot on net. Like, that's kind of demoralizing, you know, in other sports I've done, you know, swimming, where you're timed the whole time. Like, you're going to be right around your best time. You're going to be, you know, within a second or two of your best time every single time.
Yeah.
And you're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
But you're playing and you're not even getting close to contributing.
Yeah.
And then you have to get back out there and try again. Yeah. Like, I think that's the toughest mental part of it. And that's what's the hardest to get over.
That's a really good point. Because they tell you when you're goaltending, they tell you, like, memory of a goldfish. Mm-hmm. They're like, you got to forget about it right away. Like, you can't linger on one thing or else it's going to mess up your whole jam. And I think it's interesting too, because, like, when you're skating out, like, you're able to go back to the bench and reflect and, like, sit on it. Like, when you're in goal, like, you're out there. Like, you're just there. Like, there's no coming to the bench unless you're, like, pulled. Yeah. I don't know. I want to dress 2 goalies for one of our beer league games and see how that goes. But, like, there's no backups, you know what I mean? In beer league, like, you don't.
Somehow our team ended up with 3 different goalies.
We have 3. Our crease is a little crowded.
Like 3 more goalies than most beer league teams have.
Yeah. We always have an option.
Yeah, there's always an option.
Always an option. And they're not bad. Well, me, it's like, meh. Dubs is pretty good. Mm-hmm. Bart is great.
Bart's
Shout out.
Good. But Bart and Dubs and you can all skate out and play too. Like,
yeah.
And everybody likes doing both. So it's kind of a fun balance. And I'm never nervous about not having a goalie.
Yeah. No.
Which is cool.
It's a good problem not to have. Mm-hmm. You never have to email anyone. Mm-hmm. It's great.
I do too much of that in my job anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Of course, thanks for having me.
It was awesome, and thank you for... He's the reason that Kuzi has been quiet most of the time.
She's why my hand's been over here the whole time.
Yeah, I'm just petting her. But thank you guys so much. That's DC Hockey. Do you want to plug anything while you're here? You got a mixtape coming out right now?
Maybe later. I'll throw something.
Oh!
No, I won't stoop that low.
All right, and we should probably like start getting ready for practice now. Yeah. When do we practice that? The kids, I think, practice that. Yeah, like 4:10.
Yeah, 4:10 tomorrow on Saturday.
PM. Yeah. We've had a lot of morning calls recently.
At 6:30 a.m. on Sunday was real tough after our pickup until like 11:30 the night before.
Yeah, but you did great in that pickup though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were on the wing.
I did play on the wing.
He played on the wing, yeah. But I know, as a good captain, don't put Suits on the wing. Don't put him on the wing. Don't even ask him. It's either center or D. But thank you guys for tuning in. That's CC Hockey. We'll catch you next week. Special guest next week, Aaron Ness from the Hershey Bears. And then later down the road in January, we got Brendan Morrison to talk that 2009-2010 Capitals team. And then I'll have some more teammates on along the way.
Very cool. I'm excited to listen along.
Oh, yeah. See, even if you guys don't listen, I have one guaranteed listener. And two, because my dog has to listen. Because she lives here. Anyway, thank you guys. That's CC Hockey. I'll see you next week.